Okay, so now we're going to have the situation where we don't have our special angles anymore. So we're going to need to use our reference angles, right? So we still have that my little abbreviation of r cis theta. And inverse tangent is defined in quadrant 1 and 4, right? So we're going to need our reference angles. So again, when we do that, I'm going to kind of ignore the sign, find the quadrant 1 guy, right? And then use our reference angle rules to find the rest. Okay, so let's kind of go the opposite way and find r squared first this time. So r squared is going to be 36 plus 4, right? So square root of 40. R is the square root of 40. Okay, and I'm just going to leave that for a minute, right? So now I want to think about theta hat, my reference angle. This guy's in quadrant 3, right? Because he's negative, negative. So my reference angle here, theta hat, will be the inverse tangent of 2 over 6, right? B over A. And again, I'm using the positive of that because that's going to give me the quadrant 1 guy, right? And then here, if theta is in quadrant 3, theta is pi plus theta hat, right? In quadrant 3. So theta will be pi plus the inverse tangent of 2 over 6 or 1/3. So let's see, my r value is the square root of 40, and they told me to round to the nearest hundredth, so 6.32 cis. Let me make sure my calculator is in radians. Pi plus the inverse tangent of 2 over 6. 3.46. And again, in Alex, you would have to write that as 6.32 parentheses, cosine 3.46 plus I sine 3.46. But the abbreviation sure is nice to be able to write. Everybody okay? Little bored? It's all right. All right, so this guy is in quadrant 2, right? Let's go ahead and find our r value first. R squared is going to be 25 plus 36. So r is the square root of 61. We said that we are in quadrant, let's see, positive, negative. So we're in quadrant 4, right? Let's go ahead and find our theta hat. If you notice here, it does say where theta is between 0 and 2 pi, right? So they don't want a negative angle. If we were to put this in our calculator as theta is the inverse tangent of negative 6 over 5, we would get a negative angle, right? Because it's not going to go through that third quadrant. So I'm going to do theta hat is the inverse tangent of 6 over 5. I'm going to make it positive, so that's going to give me my quadrant 1 guy. And I know this guy is in quadrant 4. And in quadrant 4, theta is 2 pi minus theta hat. So I know that I'm going to have my r is the square root of 61, which is 7.81. cis. And then I'm going to do 2 pi minus the inverse tangent of 6 over 5. 5.41. Everybody okay? Let's skip the guy in quadrant 1. Yeah, let's skip him, but do pay attention that if that's 4 plus I, that coefficient of I is 1, right? So your B value is 1 there. And let's do the quadrant 3 guy. So finding my R value first, R squared is going to be 4 plus 16. So R is the square root of 20. And I know that theta hat is the inverse tangent of 4 over 2. And this guy is in quadrant 3, right? Because we are negative, negative. And in quadrant 3, theta is pi plus theta hat. So I could write it, if you want to write it out the first time, I guess, without the decimals, it would be what? The square root of 20 cis pi plus theta hat. The square root of 20 is 4.47. Cis pi plus the inverse tangent of 2, 4.25. Any questions? Good, right?